Today we're joined by Ariel Frantz, stepping back into the cage at Front Street Fights 35 on April 10th against Lacey Vazquez. Ariel's one of those fighters you don't just watch for results, you watch for growth. She's been steadily building her fight game right here and the Treasure Valley scene, putting in work between appearances. Now she's heading into another matchup that says a lot about where she's at right now in her career. Knuckle up. It's about to get real. Ariel, what's happening? Thanks for joining me here today. Appreciate you a ton jumping on here with me. How you doing?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I'm doing great. It's a beautiful day and it's Friday, so
Absolutely. Yeah, you get for two for one. Twofer. That's awesome. Hey, let's jump right into this here. I mean, you have a pretty interesting story, backdrop with softball at Boise State. Now you're jumping into, well, you've been in the ranks here. You've been moving for some time now into the fight scene. And April 10th here in Boise, Idaho, you're jumping back into it again. So I want to get down to the real and raw story about that journey, talking about some of the decisions, some of the detours, injury, now the comeback, if you want to call it that, etc. But let me start off with this. How do you go from softball to MMA? Like, how did that happen?
So obviously, like, I played at Boise State, really enjoyed my time. I've been an athlete my whole life, but softball was the thing that, paid for college, and that was great. Once I was done, when you're a competitor at that level, you're kind of just always looking for that fix. So I tried lots of different things, tried a little bit of bodybuilding, a little bit of slow pitch, CrossFit, like all of it, and I was a strength and conditioning coach. And the gym I was working at actually had an MMA team, a combat team, and they would always just kind of bug me to jump into sparring, try it out, this, that, and the next thing. And one day I did, and I loved it, and trained it casually for a little bit, and then finally I was like, you know what? I love this. Like, let's compete. I'm no stranger to competition, and I went for it, and there was no turning back.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, you made a good point there. As a competitor, you are always looking for the next thing to tackle, and so that's cool. But tell me about like this arena of softball. Like, what are some things in that arena that you are applying into the fight game? I mean, I have to understand there are some parallels outside of just competition. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, from just a skill set standpoint, striking is very rotational, and so is softball. If you want to throw a ball or swing a bat, you can learn how to throw a punch or a kick. So there's a lot of movement patterns that are really similar. So it was pretty natural learning a lot of that. And then just the competitor's mindset, right? Like, you got to be an athlete. You have to understand how to compose yourself in high pressure situations, what it looks like to manage your time. Just like those little things. It doesn't matter what stage you're on, like, those carry over. And so once you've competed at a certain level, like, you can take that experience and apply it on almost any stage.
Absolutely. Take me back to the first time that you stepped into the cage, because it's been, how long ago was it when your debut kicked off?
5 or 6 years at this point.
Yeah.
My very first fight was actually 4 Front Street Fights. It's the only time I've ever gotten to fight local. Same venue as I'm about to fight on in a couple weeks, and it was crazy. I was on with 2 of my teammates, so at least I wasn't alone. I had a couple of people that had done it before with me backstage, and that was really helpful. But I kind of explain it as like a car crash in some sense. It's a lot of adrenaline, right? So you have this really long, extensive preparation period, which is very different from most sports. Just this very long prep for a very short competition. And so once I got to the competition, it went so fast. Like, honestly, like a blink of an eye, like being in a car accident. You're like, it was intense. I know some stuff happened, but it's over, and I'm not really sure, like, it went well. And that adrenaline dump was pretty big, especially being in front of a bunch of friends and families, a bunch of kids that I mentored and coaches, their family, going from, being someone that helps mentor them and get them ready for competition to them watching me compete.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of pressure there, right?
Absolutely.
And it was my first time. Like, I don't know how this goes. Like, I've never experienced it before, so let's just keep our composure and move forward. But yeah, it was great. Broke my nose.
Oh, really?
The
First time out, break your nose.
I actually broke it in camp. It healed a little bit, and then within the first like 30 seconds of the fight, just shattered it again.
Wow.
But honestly, I didn't even realize I was the one bleeding until in between rounds, and I was like, "Oh, okay, sorry, mom." But yeah, no.
Shout out to your nose surgeon too, because it looks.
Yeah, no, honestly, yeah. I had a plastic surgeon like redo my entire face
Wow.
a little over a year ago because it just kept getting. Yeah, shout out to Mark Lengold. His plug in Boise. Anything you need, like, go after it. But I'll do my best not to ruin the work. But yeah, no, it was great. It was really intense. That's the most intense it's been for me. Once you get past that first one, you kind of know what to expect, and you can kind of, like I said, you're a little bit better prepared from that point on.
So what? I mean, I'm sure each fight's been a little bit different, but from inception, even throughout the next couple, like, what is it that you've learned inside the ring that preparation and the training gym couldn't really teach you until you were out there? I have to imagine that there are some things you're like real-time moment, real-time training, on the job training type of thing, right?
Yeah. You cannot tie yourself and your purpose and why you're doing it to the outcome. Like the fight game, as with life in general. There are so many things that we can't control. You know, in fighting, you duck when you should have pulled, and suddenly someone's waking you up in the back. You know what I mean? Like, there is some luck that goes into it. Obviously, like, the more you train, the more you prepare, you sway the scales, right? But at the end of the day, I have no control over the outcome. And so why I do this, my purpose and my motivation to pursue this cannot be tied to that outcome. Do I want to win? Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm going to do everything in my power to get a successful outing and to get my hand raised. But in the cage, it's just feedback, right? In practice, that's the time to learn things and to drill things and to download. I call it downloading into my hardware. Fight night is not the time to do any of that. It's just going to show you what has successfully been downloaded and what didn't. And right, so it's not the time to think. It's just the time to do. And it whatever happens, it is feedback to where you're at. And you know, it doesn't have to be tied to emotion. It's just reality. Like, this is what worked well. This is what didn't. Here's where we got to work, and let's move forward. Have fun. You don't get to compete very often. You know, if you have a good year as a fighter, you get to compete maybe 4 times. It's your night. Be a little bit selfish with it. You worked really hard, and enjoy it. Like, regardless of what happens, like, have a good time, because you get one night. You get, like I said, if you have a good year, maybe you get 4 days a year that are about you, and you get to actually do the thing. So don't, you know what I mean? Just have fun. Like, that's the fun part. That's why we do what we do, because we love it.
Absolutely. No, that's cool that you shared that, because, you know, I was going to ask you about setbacks and kind of how that impacts you. And I think so often people do allow the outcome of X, Y, Z to impact them. And it's because the identity portion, right? It was wrapped up into that end result, but you're looking at it as it's a journey. It's a long road ahead. And so you're just learning with each bump and bruise that you get. Doesn't necessarily mean it always pans out the way that you want it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think fighting is like the ultimate metaphor for life, right? Like, we're all fighting with something. And, you know, it's not about getting the win in the cage. You want the wins. Obviously, I'm a competitor and I'm an athlete and I want to win, but it's not about that. It's about the potential to evolve into a better version of myself. And your losses and your failures are arguably even more important part of that journey than your successes and your wins.
So how did that translate into, you know, an injury that you had, right? With one of your last bouts that you had out, torn Achilles, I think it was, right?
Yes. I was, after my last fight, I was preparing for another one. I was going into a 145 title fight, And 5 days beforehand, at a very low intensity practice, right? We're in fight week. We have already done all the stuff. We're just doing walkthroughs. I ended up freak accident, ruptured my Achilles, which then turned into a complicated rupture and required multiple surgeries over the course of the next year and some, which, whew, talk about tough.
Right.
Yeah, you know what? It was really difficult, but in a way that, I'm good at difficult. Throw some more weight on the bar, run another sprint, do the work. But this was a different kind of difficult. It was actually like you need to rest for a while.
Yeah.
And so it sucked, but it opened doors that I never would have had an opportunity to walk through if it didn't happen. And you know what I mean? And that's just life, right? You have every setback is an opportunity, to view life. It's a change of perspective. In fighting, we're always talking about finding an angle. If the fight's not going your way, if you're not getting the results, like cut a different angle, like try it out. Maybe it won't work, maybe it will, but you got to cut a new angle. I ruptured my Achilles and it forced me to cut a new angle. Like I had to have a perspective shift. And in doing so, I got to see things from a whole new angle, and it allowed me to learn in a way I hadn't before.
Yeah. Wow. That's cool. That's a great perspective to have, and it makes me wonder too, I know with what you're sharing with me so far, I can tell that you have a strong mentality, which is a big portion of this sport, right? And what you have to have, with being in such a long layoff, like, do you feel an expectation to perform in a certain way, or is there any added pressure because of that? Or are you just like, it's another day in the office, I'm back at it again?
It has ebbed and flowed. At this point, no, I feel no expectation. The only thing that I really feel overwhelmingly at this point is just gratitude. And I'm excited. I'm happy. There was a point after my last surgery where we really didn't know if this was going to happen. Like that, this could be the end of my career. It could be the end of competing athletically. And we just had to wait and find out. So there was a good chunk of time where I was like, I might be done. Like this might be it for me. So the fact that I just get to go through all this pressure again, like it is a privilege. It's something that I'm really looking forward to. But I will say earlier in my career, before this injury, I always felt like this expectation, like, oh, you're a D1 athlete, like, oh, you're so strong, like you're so athletic, like you must be like so good. And like when I lost my one loss out in Texas, like I took it so hard, and it was so just mentally defeating and draining. And I realized like it really wasn't that deep. Like respectfully, no one cares about my fighting career more than me. People care about me and want to support me, but they don't care what I do. Like it's only as deep as I let it be, and it can be impactful and purposeful. But like it doesn't have to be that deep. Like I can just do it because I love it. I enjoy it. It helps me be a better version of myself. And I'm a competitor. I want to win, but at the end of the day, like the only person really that has expectations of what I do is me. So
yeah, that's awesome. Let's peel back the curtain a little bit on your opponent, on Lacey Vazquez.
Okay.
Tell me about what you know about her. Like, what do you know about her style? What do you know about, how she fights, mentality, etc.?
Yeah, actually, weirdly enough, I've cornered against Lacey. So Lacey actually fought one of my teammates several years ago, and it happened to be a fight that my head coach couldn't be at. So I ended up being the head corner for that coach. So I have seen her, but it's been years. I don't know if she knows that or remembers that at all, but I don't know much about her. She's nice. She's a mental health professional, which means I know that she has a great mindset going into this, and she trains very hard, and she's grounded in her reason. She's a mom. She does this for her own autonomy, and I think that's awesome. I think moms are superhuman, and mad respect. And so, I mean, that's what I know. She's gonna have a little bit of reach on me. She's a little bit taller, a little bit longer, but at the end of the day, like I said, you fight so infrequently that you can completely change your skill set as a fighter in between fights. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's had a bit of a layoff too, and she's been, I think, doing a little bit more like kickboxing, Muay Thai style, or like jiu-jitsu tournaments. It's been a while since she's fought MMA. So, I mean, the levels to which she could have evolved her game are massive. Just, you know, you never know. So I think she's awesome. I have nothing but respect for her. I had a lot of people decline fighting me coming back. So the fact that she said yes, that's all I need to know. I have nothing but respect for you. I know what it takes to make the walk. And I'm training for me. I'm not training to be ready for a fighter. I'm training to be the best in every position with my style and who I am. Because like I said, you really know, you never know with your opponent.
Yeah. So what would you describe your style as? Like, would you call yourself a stand-up fighter? Like, what would you call yourself?
No, I think I'm a pretty well-rounded fighter. I have submission finishes and knockout finishes. I can get it done on the ground or on the feet. I don't care. I am who I am. I don't know. I'm violent.
Versatile.
I'm a little bit of a bully. Yeah, I'm a little bit of a bully. I'm a little bit mean. I'm very strong. But to be honest, anyone that's trying to scout me at this point is going to be a little bit out of luck, because it's been almost 2.5 years since I've been in the cage. And in that time frame, I've broken my body, like literally had to relearn how to walk. So if you're watching any of my previous fights, it's not going to give you too much intel, because I'm fighting completely different. I had to make adjustments, right?
Yeah. And this adjustment, one of them was going down to flyweight, right?
Yes. Yeah. I'm a little bit lighter now. I'm questioning that decision a little bit as my stomach is eating itself as I talk to you. But yeah, I'm a lot lighter. I'm a lot faster. I'm moving a lot differently. And, you know, so we'll see. I mean, I know what I'm preparing to do and what I've been preparing to do. But I mean, like I said, the ultimate feedback is going to be fight night. We'll see what kind of fighter I am when I show up. It's been a long time, and I'm excited to meet that version of myself just as much as everyone else is.
Yeah. Wow. That's a cool way to look at it. You're like, you know, I had to make some sacrifices along the way. I love the punch line that you put there. Your stomach's eating itself, you know, as you're talking right here. Cutting weight. If anybody knows about cutting weight, they know what you're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah. But, you know, from what I can tell, I can only see, you know, a torso and above. I mean, you look lean. You look ripped. You look like you look strong.
Absolutely. Super lean, super mean. You know, my safety net has always been my strength, my explosivity, and I don't train it very often as far as in practice, because I know that it's an autopilot and that will always kick in. So I like to focus on the things I'm not quite as locked in on. But yeah, I have some strength. I have some muscle on me for sure.
Yeah, that's what's up. You know, day of or fight week, or maybe even day of more so, I'm thinking of, like, how do you mentally prep yourself? Like, what do you tell yourself as you're getting ready for going into something like this? Like, what does that look like for a fighter, from a fighter's perspective?
From my perspective, I think it's probably different for everyone you talk to, but from my perspective, listen, it's going to be emotional. Like, you're going to have waves of emotions, and you just have to go with it, right? There's going to be a moment where you're feeling super, super excited, and there's going to be a moment where you're like, oh my God, what am I doing? What am I doing? And you're going to kind of ebb and flow through all these different cycles and all these different feelings, and you just got to go with it. Like, you have to understand it's going to happen. It's something we all go through, and there's nothing wrong with it. Your body's excited. It's getting ready for something that's a big deal, and I just I feel very grateful on fight day. You know, the worst part's over. I've weighed in. I've made weight. I'm eating again. I'm happy. My body's happy, and the day is about me. It's the fun part. So I just try to remind myself, you know, even though when I get the pre-fight jitters and you're in the back and you're like, oh, it's almost time. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? I'm just excited. I've been training for this for so long. And I just want to enjoy it. I just want to have a good time. And I just want to be so present. And that's something I really love about fighting, is it demands your presence. Whether you're training or you are competing, you're not going to be zoning out, you know, like driving home from work and you're thinking about 10,000 things. You know, you're right there. You're in it. It's raw, both physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. You are so present, and it demands it of you. And I just think that's such a blessing, especially in today's world where we're so often zoned out and thinking about 10,000 things.
Right.
So on fight day, I'm just present, and however I feel is how I feel, and I think it's a gift, and I'm just really excited.
Yeah, that's awesome. So give us the plug if you could. What's the plug for? Again, I mentioned it early on, but date, time, location, where can people find you, etc.
Yes, Front Street Fights at 35 is going on in Boise, Idaho, down at Idaho Central Arena. It is where the Steelheads play, so if you're a hockey fan, you already know where it's at. Doors are at 6, fights start at 7. They haven't released the full card yet, but there'll be a good handful of both amateur and pro fights. It's put on by Vita. If you know her, she was a pro fighter herself. She's awesome. She has a lot of good matchmaking and fighter experience, and so she makes sure that there's some great fights on that card. It's really well done. Food, drink, bar, alcohol, everything you could want. And there's always a couple of bonus fights in the crowd from drunk people that are enjoying themselves a little too much, so you get the afters too.
That's what's up. Yeah, go for the bonus. Not really, but
Yep, April 10th, Friday night. Great Friday night, great way to spend your time.
yeah, that's awesome. Well, Ariel, this has been phenomenal. Appreciate you sharing with me. I'm looking forward to going and watching you put on a show. I'm sure you're going to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Enjoying it a ton. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you fight.